In today's video, we are going to talk about a website that is so generous that they just can't stop giving away money. You're welcome. A website that promises incredible profits no matter how good or bad the market is. Huh? And all you have to do is deposit your money and watch it grow up and to the right. So today we are going to take a deep dive into NovaTech FX or NovaTech Forex and the rug pull that everyone should have seen coming. But before we get into that bombshell, obviously, make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Boom! Bang on that notification bell. Comment anything that you want in the relevant sections. I appreciate it. Now, let's go see what those red flags were so that you can look out for them in the future. Now, NovaTech FX was an international Forex and options trading company that started out in 2018, founded by Cynthia and Eddie Pidian. Don't know if I got that right, don't care. And had thousands of happy customers using their platform. Or so we thought. NovaTech claimed they were using AI bots to maintain higher percentage profits for their users, and nobody questioned it. Why would they? They were getting rich on paper. This is a good lesson to be learned because when things seem too good to be true, 99% of the time, they are. Now, things went great for Cynthia and Eddie for several years. In fact, you can look at reviews for the platform online and they show mostly positive from that time period. So, how does it work? Well, it's simple as 1, 2, 3. 1, give them your money. 2, their advanced AI does some magic. And 3, you get rich. It's so simple. It's almost like they don't want you to think about it much. Definitely not question it. Returns were paid out 7 to 14 days after you submitted your cash out request. Red flag number 1. With everything being so simple and straightforward and run by an AI trading bot, surely there's nothing that could go wrong, right? Well, in August of 2022, things started to take a turn for the worse. NovaTech actually received their first fraud warning from Central Bank of Russia, of all places, Central Bank of Russia, telling them about fraud. They showed signs of an illegal professional participant in the securities market. Red flag number 2. Now, I know you're thinking, it's just a warning. That doesn't mean anything unless they're convicted, and it could actually be a misunderstanding. That is a fair assessment. Now, let's move into the next point. Because just 2 months later, during an online webinar, Cynthia endorsed the claim that the FBI audited their company and said that she personally received a copy of the 700-page audit. Beautiful, right? Sounds legit. An official FBI audit saying everything is okay? I'm sure everyone read that immediately and everything was back to normal, right? Of course. Not even close. Dead wrong. When their community asked for the report, she simply said, "Don't come looking for the report." This is a quote, a direct quote. "I burned it after I read the final report." Okay. It only took 1 more month for Cynthia and Eddie to show their true colors to the investors, though. This unraveled rather quickly. NovaTech received regulatory fraud warnings from Russia and BC Canada. That's more red flags than I'm willing to count. So following the news of the multiple fraud warnings, withdrawal problems began to flood in one after another on the final fraud warning from California. Users were frantic, but they were unable to withdraw their funds. And then they were told to expect delays and were not able to get straight answers from these founders. Shortly after California issues their fraud warning, Cynthia and Eddie ordered all of their users to go through all of your posts on social media and ensure that any and all posts with an ROI or any advertisement, solicitations that have NovaTech's name or logo on it, delete it immediately and without hesitation. What? Sounds like they were running an unregulated hedge fund almost. Weird. And people wonder why Wolfer Finance and PreSend are getting ahead of regulation right now and are launching on-chain security tokens that have been fully approved and vetted by the SEC and are actually going to be held, your shares in the company, in your cryptocurrency wallet on Polygon chain, and are 2 of very few in the entire market that have actually done this and have proactively gotten ahead of regulation rather than being behind it. But you would think after something like that happened at NovaTech that everyone would pull their money out and run, right? Not exactly. But due to no fault of their own for most of them, because NovaTech actually decided to disable withdrawals completely in order to get all of the bonus account withdrawals back on track. Bonus accounts are referring to commissions earned by recruiters that brought in new users to the platform. Of course, they gotta pay the people that are out there beating pavement, keeping this thing afloat, rather than pay the investors that actually came into their hedge fund. Why would they be worrying about recruiting new users in the midst of so many fraud warnings though? In my opinion, it's sounding a lot more like a Ponzi scheme that's got a bank run on its hands and has to bring in new blood to pay out the old blood. But coincidentally, during the time users dug up information about Cynthia and Eddie, the founders of this platform that everyone had been trusting for years, only to find out their previous company, AWS Mining, was a Ponzi scheme that collapsed in 2019. Subsequently, right before they opened this one. Weird timing? I don't know. Make your own decision. I'm just the guy on YouTube with the braids, delivering you the information in a fun and entertaining way. But I digress. Even after receiving another securities fraud violation and fined for $50,000 in the state of Wisconsin, their users stayed around and they attempted to continue operations under limited capacity. Now, you can't really blame the users because they are actually almost forced into this, and at this point, they are at the mercy of these two founders. Go against them, maybe all of your money's gone. Stay with them and stick it out, maybe you recover some of it. It's almost a zero-sum game. And I honestly wish I was joking. After almost a year at this point of non-stop problems, they still had new users joining their platform and continued to promote to new recruits. It wasn't until May 10th of this year, 2023, that NovaTech officially abandons the US and Canadian users. Not stopping service for other users in those areas, they completely abandoned the platform and have not made contact with anyone since. Cynthia and Eddie have completely disappeared, yet there are still users and influencers sharing the project and telling people not to worry? Is this misery loves company, or are they just realizing that the cash cow has left and they're trying to salvage as much as they can? YouTuber Mike Favors is just one of the few actually still telling his audience to believe in the project, wait for an update, and stay faithful. Is this wishful thinking, or is this just absolutely irresponsible? I'll let you be the judge of that. He's also promoting his own private mentor investors club while talking about a company that stole millions of dollars through what we are believing is going to be eventually called a Ponzi scheme. But how did all of this happen? Was it just too much of a task to manage a company for Eddie and Cynthia? Did they grow too quick and didn't know how to go through the proper regulatory funnels? Or were they just cutting corners? So if you do just a little bit of digging, you find out that Eddie knew way more than anyone could have ever imagined. Eddie had actually worked as a logistics manager for 3 years in the US Army. Once he left the Army, he worked as an advisor to financial institutions. He then switched to the mortgage industry, where he worked as a loan officer and mortgage banker. Not only did Eddie know the ins and outs of the financial system, he purposely avoided following proper regulation and instead decided to run an unregulated, what we would probably consider to be Ponzi scheme, and ruin thousands of people's lives in the process. Pretty sad, but what can we actually learn from this? First off, don't just jump into something because of a promise of high returns without doing some real research. Not only on the company, on the results previously, but also on the people that are already involved, who's telling you about it, and who's running it. Listen to your gut, it's usually right. And make sure whatever project you dive into is completely regulated and following all the local laws, which is exactly why PreSend, the patent pending wallet transaction security software that stops cross-chain transactions from happening and stops people from losing their money on those, is regulated and has on-chain shares on Polygon that investors can hold in their cryptocurrency wallet. And that is the way that it is being funded. And same thing with Wolfer Finance, a crypto conglomerate, private equity, venture capital, investment company, and it is not being run like a fund, like these guys. And if you want more information on that, pay attention to my channel. Seriously, hit the subscribe button, because we will be announcing those regulated crowdfunding offerings going up on Akamona's platform for you to get involved in the coming weeks. Now, projects like NovaTech actually ruin crypto for new users and even people who have been in crypto for years. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. A new standard needs to be set. A new day needs to dawn. And the Ponzi's and the scams need to crumble and be done with. But for me, that's it for today. NovaTech is obviously still under investigation. Cynthia and Eddie are still MIA. And if you want to see more content like this where we expose the bad actors in crypto, make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Boom! Bang on that notification bell. Comment anything that you want in the relevant sections. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for showing up to this video. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, everyone.